bring this meeting to order. Pledge of the flag. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call.
Singh?
Here.
Snyder?
Here.
Martello?
Here.
Troop?
Here.
Eister?
Here. Jamie.
I'm here. I had to sit in the back. Jamie, you can sit over here. That's all right.
You can have a corner
Hiding
there.
in the back.
John,
I can sit up front.
You can
Take
sit up front
every
if you want
seat.
to also.
All right. Good evening. I'm Jamie Schroeder. I'm with CDCOG. We administer the city's CDBG grants each year. We're here to kick off the 2013 federal fiscal year program. Although, as you probably all already know, there's probably no hurry for 2013 because nothing's moving very fast. But this is a requirement of the CDBG program that the public be given the opportunity to comment on projects past and upcoming. So basically the CDBG program was created by an act of Congress. The Housing and Community Development Act of 1974 entitles communities to these funds through HUD. The state administers, it comes from HUD, goes to the state, comes down to entitlement communities in the state. Act 179 is the Pennsylvania Act that governs the CDBG program. And the purpose of the CDBG program is to assist cities, boroughs, towns, townships, and counties with the opportunity to enhance the viability of non-entitlement communities by targeting and funding projects that provide decent housing, a suitable living environment, and expand economic opportunities, principally for low and moderate income persons. Okay, so that's the point of the CDBG program. Today, at the public hearing, we'll discuss the regulatory requirements, the projects that have been put on the table for 2013 funding. I'll invite any new proposals that anyone might have, and at the conclusion, that will close the project proposal phase of the 2013 process. There is a sign-in sheet going around. If you would please sign it and just set it at the back when it's done. It's the only pen I have to turn out the windows. It's the only pen I have tonight. So. The estimated funds for 2013 for the city is $300,000. I can say that because in Pennsylvania Act 179, the cities are entitled to $300,000 each. Obviously, the League of Cities was the big name at the table when coming up with that formula. So the city should get $300,000 as required by the Act. If they don't, then it's non-compliant with the Act. The application schedule is attached to your agenda that you have there. Today is the first public hearing. We'll have a project review and selection at the end of February. In the meantime, between now and then, I'll meet with mayor and members of council who's ever available and interested to discuss the projects that are on the table. We'll have a final public hearing on March 25th, and also that night we'll ask for application approval. If for some reason in that next 3 months we decide that we need more time, the council can choose to vary that schedule, to extend it out. As I said, there is no real hurry. Don't worry about getting this ready this year. BCD has said probably not look until at least 6 months into the year before we think about it longer. So that schedule may change. CDBG funds can be used to carry out a wide range of activities: water, sewer infrastructure, roads, streets, sidewalks, neighborhood revitalization, economic development, job creation. Almost anything you can think of is eligible with CDBG funds, but the hurdle is being fundable. They have to primarily benefit low to moderate income persons. The City of Sunbury, by the 2000 census, is greater than 51% LMI, so most of the projects that benefit the entire city are eligible for funding. Or we can do the elimination of slum and blight, which the city has been doing with their demolition funds to remove blighted structures. And then the third way you could fund a project would be through urgent need. If there's a state of emergency, the city could use CDBG funds should they need to in a state of emergency if they don't have any other funds for something that has to be done. Also attached to your agenda are a couple of the other requirements: the fair housing notice and the anti-displacement plan. The city is required to have a fair housing analysis and a plan in place for fair housing, and also an anti-displacement plan. With CDBG funds, we do the best that we can to not displace anyone, and if we do displace anyone out of their homes for a project, we do have to replace the housing for them. So those plans are attached there for your review as required by the program. Another requirement is the Section 3. At the bottom of your agenda, there's a Section 3 preference statement. Section 3 resident is a person residing in the city who has an income below $31,000. And a Section 3 business is a business of which 51% or more is owned by an individual with an income of $31,000 or less. Section 3 is a HUD-specific program, and the city does encourage any Section 3 residents to let us know so that we can get you hooked up with employment opportunities created by projects. The same thing, if you feel you own a business that's a Section 3 business, we want to know so that we can send you the bids and everything. We want to make opportunities specifically available to Section 3 individuals and businesses. So the main point of today's public hearing is to discuss the projects that are already under consideration. The list is up here if you want it when you leave. It's really not that exciting. We have 10 projects that were submitted for funding, a continuation of the demolition program that we've been doing. 30% of the city's funds after admin can be used for that, so that's approximately $73,800. Riverfront curbs and sidewalks, that would be continuing the curbs and sidewalks along this side of the Riverfront project. $200,000 was suggested. North 3rd Street curbs and sidewalks, it is understood that there aren't any, or there aren't curbs and sidewalks along the entire section from Reagan to Packard. So that was suggested as a possible project for $100,000. Wolverton Street Bikeway extension to do some other improvements along with that project that's currently being done with PennDOT funding for $100,000. There's a funding for a new city project, that's new housing construction to be done within the city at $100,000. Pennsylvania Avenue Improvement Project, that amount was unknown. It would be to make improvements on Pennsylvania Avenue, being that you really can't park there, there's no emergency access, one lane through, close your eyes and go. We could improve that with CDBG funds. The WPA wall that was damaged in the recent storms at $150,000. Bob Snyder has put in for $39,000 for renovations to the building next to the squeeze-in through economic development and job creation. OPG Park basketball court repair and upgrades at $30,000, and basketball courts for the Persing Recreation Complex at $50,000. Those are the projects that have been submitted as ideas in 2013 funding. Most of them are eligible. Some of them would have to work a little harder to get fundability established, such as the OPG fund. We have to figure out exactly who that part serves, being that it's not the main recreation complex in the city. Pennsylvania Avenue, we have to look and see who that project primarily serves and qualify that based on those specific individuals. So those are the projects that have been submitted to date for 2013. Are there any other projects the council would like to put forward for 2013, or would anybody like to speak about any of the projects on the list?
I think everybody has to understand it's what it is. It's just a wish list, and we have, between now and the next meeting, we have to decide what we want to prioritize. That's what it's about. Because just here and add this up, I'm looking at, it must come to about $700,000.
Yeah, I didn't add it up, but right. There's always way more projects on the list than there is you could ever fund, and that's the point of the first public hearing, to gather ideas, a wish list, as the mayor called it, and over the next month, we'll whittle it down to prioritize what the city wants to do.
Anything else to add to it?
No.
Does the public have any additional projects or concerns about those projects, or concerns about potential historical or environmental impacts associated with those projects? Anybody have anything to say about it? Yes,
Jamie, did you say that there was an application attached to it?
No, there is no application attached to that.
Okay, and so how will the residents get an application through you?
Well, at the end of this public hearing, it'll be the closing of submitting projects. But yeah, ordinarily you would contact the city to get those, or you can contact me directly and I can send it to you.
And who's on the committee that approves the, I guess, the application?
how the funds get spent. We bring them all in, they all get put on here. I meet with council to discuss what their priorities are and what's eligible and fundable, because of course it has to be eligible and fundable to be paid for with the funds. And then ultimately it is council's decision what projects they fund. It is the city's funds, therefore
And
council
this is
decides.
all under the grant that comes from HUD.
Yes, the CD, Community Development Block Grant Program, yes. Yes.
I just have to educate myself. The money for this, where does it come from? 300,000. How does it?
Housing and Urban Development from the federal government. It's an entitlement program. Most states run theirs as a competitive grant. So HUD will disperse the money between the states, and most states let all the different counties, municipalities come in and compete for the money. Pennsylvania is one of 2 or 3 states that actually has an entitlement where they have a formula that distributes it among towns, townships, boroughs, cities, counties, based on they have to have 4,000 people or more, and they have to be on this distress list that was last updated in like 1987.
And then is it use it or lose it kind of funds? Like if you don't apply for the full 300,000, can you pass, or is it just?
No. Well, you could say you didn't want it, or you could only apply for some of it. That being said, you do get it, so most people do apply for all of it.
You can't roll it over, and you can't.
Each contract is good for 5 years. So we could do a project that we fund out of several years' worth of funding. The money could sit there while we develop the project and then do it. But yeah, you don't have to spend it all within within 1 year. You have up to 5 years to expend each grant that you get. But every year you get the same $300,000 or whatever.
And the admin portion can go towards planning?
You can use 18% for admin. The city does have a contract with CDBG for part of that. And then sometimes there's other funds that can be used for planning activities, such as the comprehensive plan that was just done. They did use CDBG funds to help with that. Those
Thank
kind
you.
of things. Yep.
Jane,
Yeah.
do you need their names for your record, for your meeting?
No, there's a sign-in sheet. That's good enough. I don't need their names for mine. Anything else? Okay, Sunbury cannot commit any funds to any project until we do an environmental review and check with the State Historic Preservation Office, so that's what everybody loves. When I say, no, we can't do it yet, I have to do the ER. So just so you know, we do a NEPA environmental review on each project. Does anybody have any comments on previously funded projects? We've done Cameron Park, we did Stroh Alley, we have the parking lot, we've done the riverfront, engineering costs, new roof on the cottage out of the gardens, demolition. Okay. One other thing I need to do at the public hearing tonight is discuss the program income utilization and change in use of properties cleared with CDBG funds. As I've said, the city does a demolition process each year. We acquire properties, blighted vacant properties, and demolish them with CDBG funds. In order to then sell that property or reuse that property for anything, the city has to sell it for fair market value. So our process is that we acquire it, we clear it, and then if it's something that the city or redevelopment authority wants to sell, they have a public auction. The public auction then allows you to get fair market value for a property that currently has negative value. Whatever somebody's willing to pay for it is fair market value for that property. Those funds, any funds that are made on the sale of that property, they go back into the CDBG program as what's called program income to be used again on another CDBG eligible project. What I need to tell you is this year we're talking about clearing a couple addresses, 1126 to 1128 Wolverton Street, 700 North 7th Street, 702 Chestnut Street, 310 to 312 South Front Street, 313 Packer, 139 to 141 Church, 1027 Keller, and 422 Chestnut are all properties that are on our watch list for possibly being demolished with CDBG funds. Those properties will most likely be sold to the highest bidder for fair market value or retained for the redevelopment authority or city for reuse for something in the future. I need to know if the public has any comments on that. This is your opportunity to comment on it before we do it.
Is eminent domain used to obtain these properties?
Sometimes, yep. And with all these properties, we've found that the owner is pretty much gone. And while we know who they are, you send them the stuff, nobody ever speaks up and it rolls right over. Yes?
How was the demolition process done? Like, you determine that you're going to demolish it. So is there bids submitted?
Yeah, up to, through today, what we've done is we hire an engineer so that we can have bid documents put together, so that we can bid it out and all the companies are bidding on the same project all through. What we're starting to do now, working on doing, is having a city crew demolish those properties. What that does is it allows us to not hire an engineer because we don't have to bid it out, and we don't have to pay, well, we don't have to pay prevailing rate anyway for demolition, but it really streamlines the process where we don't have to pay the engineer to come up with bid documents so all the bidders have the same thing. The city crew, the city can hire expertise as city workers, people who know how to do this. We can pay the rent for the equipment that's needed, the CDBG funds, and do it all right through the city's workforce.
Jamie, I'm seeing properties that have signs on them saying water shut off, something like that. And they've had those signs for several months. How come they don't have a condemned sign?
That would be something for the code office. I really can't answer that question.
And that's only because the water's turned off, they didn't pay their water bill, but there's really nothing wrong with the house itself.
So you're living in a house without water?
No, the people aren't living there. They're not allowed to live there without running water, so that's why it's posted. But rather than, it's not condemned,
But
it's
it
just
isn't condemned.
water
Some
turned
of them
off.
look like they need to be condemned.
Well, they could be a fine line on some of them, I guess.
But the municipal authority would post that, posting, not the city of
Yeah,
Sunbury.
I understand. Thank you.
Well, we post the sign on it, but
Do you?
the municipal authority shuts their water off, but
Oh.
our department actually has to get them out of the house and then post the sign, so.
So they could,
So they,
when
yeah.
they shut it off, they're giving you a heads up that they're shutting it off.
Well, they usually give him a list of people to go, a job to do.
They call us,
Yeah.
you know.
Okay, and then the final thing tonight is program income reuse. Last year, through 2012, the city generated $8,097.06 of program income through the Housing Revolving Loan Program. Those funds must be reallocated as program income to another CDBG eligible activity. What I'm suggesting is the city has promised some of this Housing Revolving Loan Fund money to the demolition projects, that we do put the 30% that we're allowed to put towards demolition, which was $2,429, and then the remainder, $5,668.06 into whatever 2013 project we choose at the final public hearing to allocate that to. Does anybody have any comments on the reuse of that Housing Revolving Loan Fund program income? Okay. Final opportunity to suggest any 2013 projects. Okay, that's it then. We'll close the process and adjourn the public hearing. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Let me ask you, do you want to do that shifting of money tonight or that's in the future?
No, we'll do it in the future. I just needed to know if the public had any comment on it.
Thank you very much.
Yep.
The first thing I wanted to mention is I usually talk about the redevelopment part a little bit. I do want to mention one thing. Let's see, everybody here, there's Mrs. Brooks, so I'm just going to mention that we did have a meeting the other day with some of the people from the section of town up north, the northern section of town. We went over some issues, and I thought it was a good meeting. I thought everybody understood some directions that we're going. But I often said I want everybody to come here, because if you come here is where you're going to find out the facts. And I do want to just straighten one thing out, because if you do know me, you know I don't deal in rumors, but we had Mrs. Russell actually showed up at the Housing or Municipal Authority meeting last Tuesday when I was there. And I just want to straighten out the one. She passed out a flyer about burn pits, trash, and human waste exposures, and I just want to let everybody know that the statement of indication that was there at that meeting that the city is in some way, shape, or form even thinking about doing this is crazy, and I just want everybody to understand that there's no truth to that in case somebody's out there spreading rumors around. And again, that's why we ask people to come to these meetings. I'm glad to see a nice crowd. We get the facts before you leave here tonight. Agree or not agree, at least you're going to get the facts. So there's no truth in any burn pits going up at the...
It was to bring attention to the pits that are out there, sir, not necessarily accusing the council of permitting burning.
Oh, so when you said there's rumors that there's going to be pits up there and you passed out this, that wasn't an
Yes,
indication?
yeah. Well, it's kind of like opening up the door for people to have an idea what can be done with pits.
Okay.
All right.
That's how I understood it, and other people too, so we're just going to
That's why
clear the
we
air so
all
everybody
communicate,
understands.
so we
That's
can
right.
hopefully understand each
That's
other.
right, now we all understand.
Can you give some clarification about what's happening down there?
At the
At the
site,
Moran site?
everything is, nothing's happening. Right now, we're just trying to promote, we're working with the Chamber of Commerce, and we're trying to promote new industry or business to come in. That's the only thing that's happening. Clean Harbor is not doing anything, because there's nothing happening up north in the wells. Everything's capped off, and there's not much happening up there at all. So there's nothing new happening. I'm not aware of any new applications, any new permits. The only thing I do is, like I said, we get some, the redevelopment authority is getting some contact, the Chamber of Commerce is getting some contact because of the marketing projects that we started for new business and industry. We've had 2 or 3 people last week that Charlie Ross talked to. So right now, the only thing happening is we're promoting and trying to get some sort of a business up there on some of that property that's not being used right now.
What about the zoning application that was going in to get rezoned for these evaporation pits?
That stuff, that permit was, that's what, 6 months ago, a
No,
year ago.
this was 2 weeks ago, it was mentioned.
I'm not aware of anything. Nobody's contacted me from DEP for any permits. I don't see how, again, there's nothing happening up north, so I know there's nothing coming from Clean Harbor, so I don't know who it would be coming from, but if the city finds out that there's a permit application, we will be the first ones to tell you.
So there's no pits being dug on that property at
Nope.
all right now?
There's not even any consideration for it right now. New business, Todd, relieve treasurer from collecting taxes.
Yeah, the actual next 3 items on the new business list is pretty much standard protocol each year. We go through the process of relieving our treasurer from actually collecting the past year's taxes. We then, of course, go through the process of appointing the tax recovery company to actually go about collecting delinquent taxes on our behalf. And then lastly, we actually turn that over a contract with a particular company. So the first motion this evening under new business would be to do just as it states, relieve our current treasurer from the duties of collecting taxes for tax year 2012.
Motion?
Yes.
Martello?
Yes.
Troop?
Yes.
Eister?
Yes.
Persing?
Yes.
Snyder?
Yes. Like me to continue there?
Yeah, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Okay. The second item is, of course, appointing statewide tax recovery to collect delinquent taxes on our behalf. And they've been the organization we've worked with consistently. There is not a direct charge to the city for their services. So again, I would look to appoint statewide tax recovery in a motion to collect our delinquent taxes for tax year 2012.
Second.
Thank you.
Troop? Kevin?
Yes.
Eister?
Yes.
Persing?
Yes.
Snyder?
Yes.
Martello?
Yes.
And lastly, we go about the process of formalizing the actual turnover of delinquent taxes, all of the related taxpayer information to statewide recovery. So the last motion would be to turn over the delinquent tax information to statewide so they can begin processing those delinquent taxes. Thank you.
Eister?
Yes.
Persing?
Yes.
Snyder?
Yes.
Martello?
Yes.
Troop?
Yes.
There is one other thing, we have to turn delinquent property taxes over to tax.
Tax claims. Okay.
No government account.
Okay. So I guess we can insert that into new business
Yeah, go ahead.
to turn the property tax over to, again, what was the name of your?
It's Susquehanna County tax claims, they get all the real estate tax.
Okay, all right. Thank you.
Persing?
Yes.
Snyder?
Yes.
Martello?
Yes.
Troop? Kevin?
Yes.
Eister?
Yes. Jim, Riverfront Project.
Back in April of 2010, we passed RDA 300 form, which was for the Riverfront Project. At that time, we had approved $19,997. That number was incorrect. I want to make a new motion for RDA 300 form of the sum of $2,233. It's just a clerical error, and we're just cleaning the paperwork up for the audit. It's a form of motion.
I'll second it.
Thank you.
Snyder?
Yes.
Bartello,
Yes.
Troop,
Yes.
Ister,
Yes.
Persing,
Yes. That it?
Yep.
Approve to pay invoices, Todd.
Yes, actually, everyone should have received their vouchers payables report. And Terry, thank you for forwarding that out. Again, looking to make a motion to approve our outstanding payables in the amount of $135,819.04 from the general fund, and then also in the same motion paying $4,536.55 from our liquid fuels account.
Second.
Bartello,
Yes.
Troop,
Yes.
Ister,
Yes.
Persing,
Yes.
Snyder,
Yes.
David, before we move on, I'd like to take him.
Go ahead.
Before we jump down there. Well, pass these down, Terry. I have a question on this vehicle that was going to be purchased by Joe.
Yes. Yeah.
There's one here for Joe then also. What I'm doing here, Todd, I want to particularly ask you a question then, Todd. What I've done here is basically taking the proposal from Sunbury Motors for 2013 F-150 truck and making comparison with the truck that Joe was looking at for $11,493, roughly $5,500 difference. Sunbury Motors have dropped the price $200, so it's $5,300.
But it's apples and oranges. You're talking about a two-wheel drive truck to a four-wheel drive truck. So go ahead. Go ahead.
Well, thank you. So my problem is we're buying a truck that's 12 years old. Of course, the new truck has a 5-year warranty on the drivetrain. The used truck has a 2-year warranty on the drivetrain.
Right.
And Joe is correct. This truck here is only 2-wheel drive, and he's purchasing a 4-wheel drive. I'm not even sure why we would have a 4-wheel drive, because the code was never had a 4-wheel drive before, but apparently he feels the need one.
Was it the Park and Recreation have a four-wheel drive?
Now, can I finish, Joe?
Yeah, go ahead.
You know all the time you want.
Oh, yeah.
Okay? So, my question is, why would we be taking and wasting money on a used vehicle when $5,500, which is $53,000, which is still a lot of money, but we're going 12 years difference in the truck, number one. Number two, the vehicle he was looking at was a smaller truck. I'm not sure what you're going to use it for. You're not going to haul a lot of things with it. But
It's to get into places I need it to get into. The two-wheel drive truck is going to be stuck everywhere I go. It's not. It's only used to clean up properties. Why would you buy a brand new truck to throw garbage in it?
well, you're missing the point here.
No, yeah, I know. I know what I'm missing. Trust me.
No, you don't know. That's what I'm
You just
getting
want to
at.
spend the money in my department.
No, well, first of all,
Go ahead.
Joe, you didn't even want the truck. We put it in your budget.
Well, why'd you put it in my budget? Why don't you put it in your own if you wanted to buy a truck? Put it in your own budget.
Oh, okay, no problem. Switch it over. That handles everything.
Yeah.
And besides that, this truck you were purchasing
What about it?
was not even there anymore. Sold last week.
Well, then fine. I'll look for a different one.
No, you just...
I don't want this two-wheel drive truck. I don't want it.
Well, you're not going to get it because we're taking money out of your budget. You just said, take it out. We'll take it out.
Yeah, you do what you want to
Why
do.
would you waste taxpayers' money? That's what I'm getting at. It's one of your little whims.
In 4 years, that
Your
two-wheel
little
drive...
whim.
Whatever.
Okay, no.
Let's see your big win. Go ahead, give us your big win. Come on.
No. You didn't even want a truck. Now, all of a sudden, when we decided to take and get a truck in the department, which was needed, now you decide it was needed,
Yeah.
okay? Then you run out and buy something used with, well, it only has 77,000, but it's 12 years old, Joe. Even Todd.
It's a GMC, and it gets a lot
Not
better
that
reviews than a Ford
No.
two-wheel drive
But
truck.
I want to ask you, Todd, I want to ask you is logical, okay? You see where the numbers, where I'm coming from.
Talk about logical. We can open up all kinds of logical things that go on around here, can't we? Holy shit.
Let's finish the truck. You are coming from, Todd, and look at the numbers.
You're showing a $5,500 additional cost.
Right, for 12 years.
Correct. But it's still an additional cost. And honestly, it's Joe's department. I'm not going to make the decision for him.
No, but.
I'm not. It's his call, and ultimately, the money's in his budget, so from my very passive standpoint in this case, as far as a transaction, it seems like it's off the table anyway if the vehicle's not there. So if it's true, the vehicle is no longer there that he had an interest in purchasing, it seems to me like it's a moot point.
Yeah, I'm just back out shopping, that's all.
Correct? I mean, we're beyond it.
Well, but it's still back to reality, though. It's a waste of money because here you have a brand-new truck, okay, maintenance will be zero for like the first 5 years.
We don't want the truck, though.
And here we have a new truck, or have an old truck, it's not even practical.
Well, I guess my
Like
thought would
me
be...
buying a used computer, you would take and say, Jim, that's not practical.
All right, I guess my thought would be, since we're looking at the Sunbury Motors quote, if the used vehicle that he was looking at is off the table, not available anymore to be purchased for whatever reason, and we've got a CoStar's, I presume,
Yes.
vendor in Sunbury Motors. I know we also have a CoStar vendors in Zimmerman's,
Yes.
which are all Sunbury-based businesses, and Alexander's. I think it's only fair then not to just look at one quote.
Especially
if
if
we're
it's
really
over.
going to quote it out, let's talk to all CoStar vendors within the city, have them come forward with the best deal that they possibly can for a new vehicle for us since it's in his budget, and let's work it that way. That's fair to all the
Well, you guys, everybody's in favor of a new truck. Thank you. So,
So that's the only, that would be my suggestion to handle if you have $17,000 available. Let's bid it out to all the local Sunbury-based businesses we know who are approved and see what they can bring back to the city.
well, Alexander's, I don't think they're co-stars, but we'll check into it. And Bob Zimmerman just got, well, the last couple of months. he became
But I know he's
a co-star.
approved.
We could do the same thing with all the recreation department vendors, too. We can look at those and see how that goes, too.
Thank you, Todd.
The only note I said, Joe, remember I just said we can get something a little less mileage on it, that's all I was looking for. When you sent me a thing back.
Mine's an 06 and has more miles on it than that one.
Well, I'm just saying,
I just still don't agree with buying a brand new truck just to throw garbage in it, so that makes sense to me. So it's just $5,500 more for the taxpayer.
Well, see what you can do.
Todd, down there somewhere in that packet I passed down, was an extra sheet of paper.
I handed it back. You had a note or something in there.
Yes, one more thing then, David. Mrs. Russell, I have an email here you sent to Joe Bertello referencing myself buying properties with insider trader. You have a recollection of this?
Yes, I do.
Okay. Because I remember the last meeting.
And I don't think I accused you of anything other than saying or suggesting that you do, as a part of the council, you would have inside information, just like the council has a list of the applications that they're going to approve for the City project.
What says here, example, the council member, referring to myself, is buying up properties with insider trader information. That's your words,
Okay?
okay?
Mm-hmm.
Well, don't you think that kind of suggested that I'm buying properties in the city?
Are you buying properties in the city?
No, give me one.
Recently, I believe, on North 4th Street.
North Forest. I have no idea what you're talking about.
Well, if you go to the assessment office, you can find out how many properties you've been buying recently, and I think you just recently changed the name to someone that is a partner. You have a partner that the two of you are buying the properties and restoring as well as selling.
You have no knowledge what you're talking about.
Never do.
No, you don't.
Never do.
I know. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay. Thank you.
Point comment?
Yes, I would like to go back to the pits, just to straighten that out, sir. Like I said, I was trying to make an example. When pits are made, they don't necessarily have to be a burn pit. They can also be covered with another type of coating that's just as toxic as if you were burning the trash that's in the pits. So I just wanted to go back to that, and since you said you didn't understand what I was trying to say. And I believe that's
I
in
think I
that
understand.
article as well.
Okay.
Thank you.
Any audience comment? Okay, discussion. Ordinance, Susquehanna Valley Liberty Alliance. I believe you guys, everybody got a copy of the proposal from Liberty Preservation Ordinance. My intent tonight was, and I have not, I mean, actually what this is a, let me get this straight. The National Defense Authorization Act of 2012 is the United States federal law specifying the entire budget and expenditures of the entire United States Department of Defense. So pretty much how I don't care if it's Afghanistan, Iran, and everything else, it's the Federal Authorization Act for 2012, so that's how all the money gets spent. Part of this, and I have not come up with section 1021, 1022, 1023, which I'm sure we will get, but I couldn't get off the computer. So it's my intent tonight to bring this to our attention because it was sent to us, and then sometime in the very near future try to get sections 1021, 1022, 1023, because that's what this organization is asking us to consider going public against. Now, for the public that's not aware of any of this, this is a federal law. It's a federal authorization act, so it clearly has nothing to do with the city of Sunbury other than personal opinions, and everybody in this room can, once we can understand this all and explain it to you, then I believe everybody can probably have their own personal opinion. Now, I'm sure there's people here to talk about it tonight, and we're welcome them to talk about it, but I'm not aware, unless any of you gentlemen have come up with, I don't have a section of 1021, I didn't have a section to give you. I just looked in the computer even today at work and couldn't get it, so I don't know how many 100 pages of the federal act is. Maybe you guys can get us a section of it then we can look at it and discuss it at the next meeting, but you're more than welcome to talk about it now since you've already, it's on the agenda.
Hi, I'm the State Constable at Poodle Jr. I'm the Constable for the 9th Ward here in Sunbury. Back in March of last year, I signed a resolution that sets the policy for my office that we will not cooperate with the enforcement of sections 1021, 1022, or 1023 of the National Defense Authorization Act for fiscal year 2012. Now, these sections in there, and there are links to those sections in my resolution, which you should have copies of. If not, I can get them to you, so that's no problem. In these sections, it allows for the detention of anyone without charge or trial by the United States federal government. This is clearly in violation of our 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th Amendment protections. You have all taken an oath to the Constitution that you will support and defend it. So this isn't just a federal issue, because the right to a trial by jury of our peers is something that we've had even before we were part of the United States. We have a right to a trial by jury. What this proposed ordinance would do is say that no law enforcement department or employee or agent of the city will cooperate with the enforcement of the indefinite detention provisions of the NDAA. What the NDAA does is it takes away the Constitution, and you don't have any constitutional rights. You are being held under the law of war. It takes the law of war and applies it to United States citizens. Now, that sounds like an issue that should alarm everybody, and every elected official should be remembering the oath that you swore to uphold. Now, if you want to uphold it, one way you can do that is the Sunbury Police Department, have them not cooperate with those provisions, ask that the county sheriff not cooperate, and the constables of the various wards. And this isn't partisan. You have support across the political spectrum. You have ACLU, Oath Keepers, Gun Owners of America. There's just a variety of organizations. The 10th Amendment Center. I've talked to some of the top constitutional scholars in this country, Blake Philippi, of the Rhode Island Liberty Coalition. I talked to Stuart Rhodes, who is a graduate of Yale Law School. He's won awards for law papers he wrote there. This isn't something out of the blue, you know. People, cities across the country have already taken this step of passing an ordinance or resolution to oppose and nullify the unconstitutional provisions. I think we should join with Elk and Fulton counties, which are two Pennsylvania counties who have already passed similar legislation. There's been sheriffs across the country who have also said that they won't cooperate with the enforcement. And I just think it's a really dark day when our elected officials are afraid to stand up for the right to trial by jury.
If the city council passes this evening, what will happen differently tomorrow morning?
The law enforcement and all the city employees, if they cooperate with the, detaining somebody with the military, they will lose their position. It'll be considered a violation of their oath of office, and they could also face criminal.
But I don't think that police officers do anything with the military. Chief, are you doing anything with the military right now with detaining people? Or
It's anti-terror.
Oh, but if
That's
the
specifically-
if the military or some branch of the federal government did come here and wanted any cooperation, it doesn't have to happen now. It should never happen because we have a constitution. We have the right to trial by jury. So the military...
But we have that today, whether the council acts or not tonight.
But it's not being protected because this federal law has taken away our constitutional right. It's the Liberty Preservation. We're preserving the right to trial by jury. And I think you should all stand up and uphold your oath.
Can I ask you, is 10, 21, 22, and 23, is that pertaining to terrorism? Is that what it
It
is?
pertains to the to indefinite detention provisions of it, which would allow the federal government to pick up anybody, haul them off.
Or is that not just terrorists, anybody?
Anybody that commits a belligerent act. And what is a belligerent act? You know, I can provide you guys with much more information, but just that you're sworn to uphold the Constitution, you shouldn't be afraid to pass a law that says you're going to uphold your oath. You know, you're going to stand in defense of the Bill of Rights, and that's what this does.
I don't think anybody's afraid, we just don't know what it is. We just have to get us to 1021, 1022, 1023, we'll keep it on the agenda. You have copies for it? One copy?
I do have...
You just get me one copy of it, and I'll get them out to everybody, then we have a couple weeks to look at it, and we'll bring it back up on the...
All right, I'll give you some papers on that for me.
Are you saying that this would be like a Nazi state?
No, that's fine.
Is that what you're saying?
We would not have constitutional rights. We wouldn't have the right to file a writ of habeas corpus. The Pennsylvania law says judges are supposed to be able to have hearings, writs of habeas corpus, and the NDAA gets rid of that. You don't have the right to file a writ of habeas corpus.
The Patriot Act.
Lindsey Graham.
This is the codification of this is part of the Patriot Act.
Patriot Act, though, applied specifically to members of the Taliban and associated forces.
Said any terrorist, foreign or domestic. Yeah. Doesn't say Taliban. It says foreign or domestic. It's part of the Patriot Act.
Substantially supported Al-Qaeda, so it's undefined.
Well, let's do it this way. We have no problem reviewing, we just need to have the stuff in front of us. All right, so if you can just get us the link so we can print it out. I tried to do it. If you just hand that to us tonight, I'll make sure everybody gets copies, then we can print it out. All right? I mean, the unusual thing about it is, I understand what you're saying, but the unusual thing, I mean, they're trying to pass a lot of gun laws right now that I know a lot of people aren't happy about, The city of Sunbury
I was just,
isn't going to take a stand on gun laws. Everybody personally in this room, I'm sure, is going to take one.
Gilberton, Pennsylvania
Why
just
wouldn't
passed a
That's your
bill
job.
to,
To
or
uphold
an
your
ordinance to
oath to the
nullify the gun
Constitution.
laws.
Or something, right? Yeah, absolutely.
You know, this is
That's
pretty
why you
much
were
the
voted
same
into
thing. It's
office.
saying that we're not going to stand for unconstitutional laws, that unconstitutional acts, and we're going to uphold those.
Okay. Well, thank you very much. And now, it looks like we have links there, so we can print them out. I'll have, if Terry can print these out tomorrow, we'll make sure we all get copies, and then we'll talk about it in the February meeting. That's our next scheduled meeting.
And
Any other? Yes, sir.
my name is Nick DeFonte. I'm with the Panda chapter in Williamsport. That's the same organization that Mr. Lee is a part of. And we're in the process right now with the county and the commissioners and the sheriff's office to nullify sections 1021 and 1022 of that same act.
Lycoming County?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Okay, go ahead.
It's in the solicitor's hands right now, and as we know, the solicitor gives an opinion as far as legality is concerned, but it's not a decision to make up anybody's mind. So regardless, this act will, this nullification, in my opinion, is definitely going to be passed in Lycoming County, and it's going to interpose the sheriff and any deputies or posse that he may come up with in between a military and the citizens. We're not saying that we can stop the military, but this is something as a deterrent. Let the military go somewhere else, but we're going to keep in Lycoming County our citizens safe as much as possible. So I just wanted to thank Ed Lee for coming here and putting this together, and hopefully, you know, everybody here who took an oath. I did also. I'm a veteran, and I'm out of the military now, but I still hold my oath very seriously, and I hope you all do the same.
Thank you. Thank you. Yes, sir.
I have to add one thing. I'm not with anybody. I just live in Danville, and I try to stay abreast of these subjects. And I know
I'm
it's
sorry, just need your name for the...
David, Dakota.
Thank you, go ahead.
It's a complicated issue. There's a lot there. Ed's really good with the details of it. But as just a citizen, I hope you guys will all take the time to get familiar with this, because what Ed's talking about in plain terms, I do a lot better with situations, brick and mortar kind of things. If someone in here is accused of being suspicious activity, what basically in practice how this would work is, this guy seems suspicious to me, could someone check him out? Now you don't know who really can check you out, but someone checks you out. If you're then labeled as a
Threat to
terrorist,
national
a
security.
potential problem, somebody of interest, someone can come, whether it's local or federal, and take you away. And that's Gitmo, places like that exist because you just can go disappear. Now my grandfather, I know this makes me sound like some paranoid weirdo. My grandfather is 95 years old. He used to tell me stories about Russia, how lucky I was to live in the United States, because that kind of stuff never happens here. That's why this is so scary to me, because it's here right now. That language is in that bill. And to say that the federal government makes laws and then we have to follow them at the state and local level is not the way our country is set up. States have the most rights, and you guys are below them. The federal part of our government was designed so when all the states benefited from something the federal government did, we agreed to do it. And we've gotten away from that. We think it's this pyramid. It's not. You guys have a lot of power. It's like the cop on the street. You know, he decides where he's going to go, what house, what street he's going to walk on. That's you guys. And I hope you'll just look into it and make yourself.
We will just have to familiarize ourselves exactly what we're...
It's a lot, and it really seems like a lot to try to wrap your head around, but it's worth doing. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Any other comment? Announcements.
Sir, I do have a question.
Yes,
Thank
ma'am.
you. I, Regina Russell, at the last meeting, I had asked or brought up the matter with a property at 406 Walnut Street in Sunbury, and I believe I had said that that property was owned by Councilman Iser. Would that be true, Councilman?
That's true.
That's true. Okay, going back to my email, I just wanted to mention that when you go to the tax assessment office, it does have another person's name on the card under your name,
That's correct.
which indicates that either it was purchased by someone else or that is your partner.
It's a partner.
Thank you.
That's why his name's there.
Thank you. I just wanted to clear that up since I don't seem to know much of anything. Thank you.
Anything else?
No, that's good.
Thank you.
Need alternate for zoning hearing board? Oh, okay. All right, that's just to consider. Mr. Larkin's not here, is he?
Well, he's on that now, isn't he?
Yeah. I'm not sure who the actual alternate is, though.
It was Rick Sinker.
Oh,
Oh, okay.
all right. We can talk to Bob and see if he has any suggestions. That's what we normally do.
Okay.
Brush piles closed until mid-March. Anyone that has brush, call 286-5761. What will that get you?
Somebody to go and lock the brush pile.
There you go. Okay, I want to explain to everybody what that is. 286-5761.
That's the city garage.
Anything else? I want to thank everybody for coming. Meeting's adjourned.